back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and the supernatural is a part of our everyday lives. I am so excited to have this next guest on here. We have worked together at a holistic show, and I am excited to work with her again. So let's get started. Welcome to the show, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hello. My name is Meri. Thank you, Miss Dana, for having this platform and sharing your platform with us. Like, we love it very much. Um, I get to be with Dana. She has her channel, and you guys can see me over at my channel, and it's Meri in Divinity. And what I've been doing, studying, has kind of developed, especially over the last 7 years, especially as a preface for all of this change and awakening. The same similar 7 years seems to be a really good number for those of us who go kind of hardcore studying, whether it was gifted upon us, per se, you know, or we just decide this is the time, which is also gifted upon us. And Dana and I definitely been able to talk about how long we've been doing this kind of work. And this kind of work is a little more than what you see eye to eye, whether it's using your third eye and being able to see, coming up on entities that shall remain nameless sometimes, but you make their presence known. And then even doing, whether it's just call it a psychic work or medium work, being able to share messages from the other side. And that developed more, I think, probably in my 20s. And then on out, the psychic and intuitive has been there, my whole life. And to me, personally, I always had just a relationship with me and God. Like, I didn't see it any other way at all. I would notice if it was somebody else. Like that, I would notice. And they would have like a different, sometimes I could smell them, you know, sometimes I would just hear them. Sometimes it's just visually, but then you can kind of read the messages, that they wanted to pass on. But then the journey expanded over the last 7 years. And that has been amazing. And one day I was walking and I turned, took a step. The next step I took, half my body just like left while in my body. All my cells lifted up. It was like I was floating 50 feet in the air, which, by the way, I had to go onto a ladder that was 12 feet up. So it was very dangerous.
Oh,
Probably not normal. Like, but everything in my body left. Every fear left, every worry, everything. It was gone. It just left. And I left, in a sense, with it. But it was not like a near-death experience. It was a very precise, if I were to claim a spiritual awakening on top of it, that would have been it. That was stepping through a door, stepping through a portal that you just transcended, and yet you were in the exact same place, around all the same people, but your body's in two different places. Your mind and your spirit are in two different realms while being in the same one. So needless to say, that is where my life, and then for like life work, expanded. I could not just be a psychic anymore. I could not just be a medium per se, but the medium expanded as well, very much. More people that have crossed over have come over, the very different stories, not just messages, but asking for forgiveness. There were messages about COVID coming before COVID was here. There was messages about who had already given their souls before we knew. And I began documenting these things. And felt in a way that was important because it felt like there was definitely things changing, around, and it was important to document. Similar to like how Matthew would document, in the Bible. He just knew, like he just began writing even before it was asked or maybe not asked, of him. Understanding the weather, I had to do that. Um, and what I could feel was where we were involved in it. And I mean, we, as all the collective, whether it's our emotions, because that was huge, and how we helped drive a regular storm and we made it 50 times bigger. Like this was ours, you know? So I could feel the separation and I could basically leave my body and enter the energy of hurricanes. The next thing that was asked was, could I do it with trees? And again, I documented. I documented and I wrote down that morning what my intention was for that day. Then I would document it later that day through weather satellites that were also watching the storms. So I documented everything that I did.
Wow.
Once I got to like the trees and the wildfires here in Colorado, you know, it makes you feel a little nervous when you get a call that somebody was praying, asking, for somebody for their cabin, their family cabin, to be protected. And they're given an answer. And I get a phone call. And it basically is, Meri, this person was asking for you because they were praying and they were told to ask you because you'd be able to do that. And I was like, what? Well, I better figure out how to do that. So I got to leave me, understand the energy of wood, particularly like a log cabin. And I could feel into the energy of the logs were alive when they were cut to form the cabin. And so the energy of the wood is just as much alive in the cabin. Like it doesn't know that it's separated because the energy left. So I mean, again, this got documented because here's this woman, who I didn't know like that, and she was given this answer. And I don't even know what to say except to just do. Like there's nothing to say but do. And so she had called me and I knew it worked this particular day. I think it took me about 4 days, to really kind of harness in. Because I was used to the water and now it's like you better get used to a fire and wood. And I went into the energy of the fire and I could feel how it was almost like a bully, you know, and it would scare the wood and a lot of wood was scared. And so it would bring the fire to it. And so,
Oh,
right? Like,
yeah.
and I
Okay.
mean, it was amazing to really leave yourself and go into the energy and feel how they worked. Like it wasn't like there's no judgment. It's just nature being nature, right? But to feel this out. So this was the week before I did this study on wildfires. So I found it very curious that this was asked of me the week before, you know? So it gave me a chance to understand like the wood itself so much more. So when I understood the logs of her particular cabin and how they felt fearful and everything, and then the fire itself. And so then I could drop a bubble over the cabin and the logs couldn't hear the fire anymore. The logs of the cabin couldn't hear the fire anymore because it dropped this like globe. So the log stopped getting nervous. And I knew that the fire had stopped and turned, right? So my dad lived near there, and I called him, and I'm taking pictures of the fire from the road and everything, right? But I knew it had moved. Not only did I know it moved, I was inside the cabin. I'm air quoting that because it's all third eye, and I'm sitting inside the cabin, and I'm like, what would the cabin recognize as something, as a purpose for the cabin? So I started to play Candyland inside, like, the main room of the cabin, and it totally relaxed. Like, all the wood was very relaxed, other than the fact of being in the bubble. The lady happens to call me right at the same time. And she says, like, how's it going? And I was like, pretty good. Me and your log cabin are playing Candyland. She was like, oh. And I said, if you want to, like, come into your house and join us, that'd be great. She's like, I'd love to. She goes, we used to play that there. But that's the psychic part, right? Like, I wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that, right?
Oh, no.
No. And that's what we're doing. So anyway, like I said, I called my dad and I said, Dad, like, how's that fire? He goes, it was like coming at us really good. And he goes, and then all of a sudden, like an hour ago, it just changed. They said it just turned. So
You're
the
welcome,
lady,
Dad.
right, the lady calls me and she goes, Meri, I don't know what you did, but you did it. Her neighbor had doorbell ring camera footage of the fire stopping within 10 yards of her house and moving. No kidding.
I
Wow.
would love to see that video.
Me too, by the way. Me too. I mean, I can only document exactly what I did and what I did and what I felt and everything, right?
Right. Wow.
So that's just like one thing.
Wow, that is amazing. That is awesome. Oh, I applaud you. I have not heard of anything like that. Yeah. That's the first I've ever heard of anything like that.
But you can feel it, right? Like you can follow along, like, oh, yeah, yep, that makes sense. Yeah,
Mm,
right? And then
yeah.
when the trees are not scared of the fire, then the fire literally goes like, well, what are we going to do now, George? So the following week, I intentionally made a like manifestation intention, right? So it's an indentation. That's what I called it, an indentation. And I took the live trees, embodied them, and metaphysically, spiritually took an entire group up, you know, on purpose, intentional, and collective energy walked them, flew them through, and then energetically deep, deep, deep down into the ocean, brought the water up, carried it over, and put it into the trees and embodied the trees and pulled it in through the leaves, to the branches, into the trunk, and spit through the roots. So the one thing that I could feel was that the fire was burning under and within the dirt. Like I could feel
Yes.
it go below.
I have
But
a
I
story
didn't.
on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we volunteer at a camp up in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking to the firefighters, and the firefighters that were protecting the property there, which they did a fantastic, marvelous job. Thank you all. Um, they were telling us that that fire was burning underground. It was going from tree to tree by the roots,
Yes.
which was amazing because you can see some of the trees that are burnt on the bottom, like scarred from the bottom, but
Yeah.
nothing on the
Yeah.
top. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Okay, continue.
So, well, I didn't know that. However, side note is I kept feeling the energy of the redwood. I did not know what it meant because I don't know trees, right? And I did find out 6 months later from somebody who literally wrote a book on trees that the redwood is always so soaking wet that it shoots water out of its roots. And I was like, shut up.
Wow. So the redwood was protecting the other
Well,
trees.
that's how I soaked the trees. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what, I just followed the energy, the guidance, the everything, and blah blah blah. Now, here's what happened. If you remember, I think it was 2019 when that one fire hit around Boulder, but like Foothills
The,
Boulder, not the
oh,
one in the houses per se, but it was a pretty good size. It was pretty big.
it's the wind that blew it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so after the day after we did the whole thing and we soaked all the trees and everything, here's the thing. Went and brought them into the living trees and soaked them all the way through, right? To make the ground wet and everything else. So the next 24 hours, that fire grew 100,000 acres. Do you remember that?
It grew fast
Right.
because of the wind.
So
Yeah.
could it burn wet wood? No.
I wouldn't think so. Wet wood is very
Right.
hard to burn. Yeah.
But if you soaked all the living trees with wet, because that's what's smart, then the fire gets to use up all the dead wood and burn it through. And now you're creating new earth. Now you're creating soil because you're utilizing both for their correct purpose. And then the very next day, the fire was under 35,000 acres. And the next day after that, it was under 17,000 acres. And the firefighters couldn't catch it, but that's what happened. And by the fourth day, it was under 8,000. That was documented, like because it had no good trees to burn because all the healthy trees were wet. So the only thing that remained was the dead wood.
Which would burn anyways, no
Yes,
matter what.
correct.
And that is the what am I trying to say? It's the cycle of Earth.
Yeah. And then it's purposeful. You see what I mean?
Yes.
That's amazing.
That is really amazing. So I think are you talking about the Cameron fire? Now
I
I'm
think
trying to
so.
think of the Cameron.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a Cameron fire because it got really big super fast. It hit the
Super fun.
100,000 acres in the 24 hours after that indentation. Then it hit 35. Then it went under 17. Like it could not sustain because it would only its actual purpose, which is burning dead wood. And then it's purposeful. And the living trees get to stay. And we took out the groundwork because
Right.
it was going under the dirt. Isn't that amazing?
That is pretty crazy. Whoa. That's deep, but not too deep. It's just root
Yeah.
level deep.
Yeah. Just root level.
But that's really cool. I think that's the same fire that took the lodge that I was, or the camp that I'm talking about. I think it's the
I
same fire
I think so.
because we had, so it's a Lutheran camp, okay?
Uh-huh.
And the firefighters were there and they were doing everything they could to save it. Me personally, I think Sasquatch was there helping to protect it
Yes.
because it was amazing that none of the cabins were burned. The
Right.
lodge, the main lodge, had a tree that was like, oh my goodness, 30, maybe 30 feet or so from the cabin itself
Mm-hmm.
or the main
Mm-hmm.
lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right next to a um, gas tank thing.
Wow.
Out, nothing went down.
Yeah.
Very few things went down. A couple things went down, but they were easy to replace. It wasn't like the whole camp.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one firefighter that was there around one of the chapels, outside chapels, and he was down by the cross, and we had a font,
Wow.
and I think you just had some um, uh, orbs fly around you,
Oh,
but
sure.
um, but the font was torched, but it survived.
Wow.
It survived, and the firefighters were there protecting the cross. And I guess the one says, "We better save this. This better not go down because if it does, we're going to hell."
Yeah. Yeah. We're all going.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite an amazing thing, and it was amazing that it was saved as much as it was. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
The
Yeah.
one thing, the biggest thing from learning this was one, how much we're involved in nature and that. Like our emotions are huge. Um, I don't know if you remember, this was about 15 years ago. There was an earthquake and it was in Virginia and it hit the North Pole. Like it went up through Ohio and Canada and
Oh my!
like
I
it was
haven't.
massive. And my family lives there, like where it began. And there's a nuclear plant that's right near there too. Like, anyway, we actually did knock the world off its axis by 3 millimeters. Okay. So when the last solar eclipse happened, the one that was in, I think, like 2014, something around there, right? That one hit.
Sure.
We went, yeah, it's something around there. We went to Wyoming where it had the full eclipse, the total eclipse.
Nice.
And I was talking to the lady, and my older sister was there who works for NASA. And she said, she goes, something happened because we weren't supposed to be in a total eclipse. We were supposed to be like 97%. And I just looked at her and I said, oh, that was the earthquake from Virginia. As soon as I realized that, it's like the whole universal went click, 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 click. So I understood that the moon not only changed the direction and therefore where it goes dark, right? So our Earth got to shift that shift because the moon didn't shift, the Earth did. So even the temperature of the oceans, where we create, well, the moon creates like the ocean waves, right? So even that shifted. The temperature of the water from where the moon used to go is now 150 miles different. So we actually went up the Pacific Ocean a little bit. And that's why the storms started to come in from like Seattle and dump down to us. And that's how that kind of like shift happened. But it is like one in the same. But I was like, oh, snap. Like it went to boom, 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 boom. Just saying. In doing so, I figured out how to be able to leave like my body and enter the energy of any living thing or person.
And you could do that to everything.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I can.
oh, oh, Mary, we have to talk when we meet up. Oh my goodness, girl. Um, that's amazing. That is really cool.
And so there's those shifts too that are not necessarily accounted for when people are talking about the storms, and how they've moved. But the moon moved. And 150 miles in the ocean is massive of that movement. So I took all of these collected works and then I started to bring me in. And I know you and I think, touched base on the fact that I had cancer 4.5 years ago. And I knew because, like I was told, you have breast cancer because it's standing in line, and there was a sign that said mammograms available today because it was opening from COVID. And I knew as soon as I read that sign, like, you need that mammogram because you have cancer. And I just looked at, seriously? Just give me a minute, okay? I'm going to do it, but I don't want to listen to the second half of that sentence. So he was right. 5 days later, was diagnosed. But he told me, you can't heal this, like, very specific, right? You cannot heal this. You have to go through this, okay? So I knew because of the things that I could do is why. And I knew that there were going to be things that would happen to me that I would learn that most people may not be available to. Doesn't mean they can't. They just may not be available to, you know? So when it spread and then I had to have chemo, like, I did get upset because I was like, oh, I'm going to lose my hair. You know? So I shaved it live, but I did it because I wanted to at least have a say, you know? Like, if anybody's going to get rid of my hair, it's going to be me, not fucking chemicals. Sorry. But I knew. So I found out that vitamin K is one of the first things to leave your body when you begin to go through chemo. So tomatoes are really important to have. That if you eat blueberries and things like that that are antioxidants and you have chemo, it actually decreases the effects of chemo. So don't do that so much because you actually want the effects of chemo to, kill it off or whatever. The next thing was protein was really important. Um, then I got to learn about having rose oil and rose water. I figured out how to make it, which is funny because I'm not a crafty person. Like, I said that to God when I was like, I am not crafty. But it
Talking
helped
about.
heal. I am not crafty. I was like, I'll build a house before I can make a craft. Like, but the rose water helped heal all the stitches because I think I had like 250, from the first surgery. I made rose oil that was very divinely led to do so. And it was the only thing that staved off the chemo pain, like the bone crippling pain. And that saved me, because I don't take any pain medicine, or anything like that at all. My baby sister loves to tell everybody, my sister did all of it and didn't take any pain pills. I love her support. But I learned so much, and my mind lost a lot of words. So I only knew a flow of energy more than anything. And so because it broke my brain so much, that's how I got very expanded. So after coming out of it, that is what I could do before I went into chemo. So coming out of it, this is a whole different thing. I understand the awakening very much, which is why MetaGenetics came in. So it's not just the vibrational shifting of our genes and DNA from trauma that came generations before us, but they changed the frequency of our DNA. But the acts that were also done while in that state of trauma, that's the meta. So
That's
this is
deep.
going to reverse. Yes. Everything that was created from that standpoint is going to fall away. And that's like really big.
Yeah. Ooh, you're a unique person right now, huh? Have you met anybody else that can do this?
No. I do want to say NASA has not developed a satellite to change the weather. I know this to be true. I was on the boat with them.
Oh, a little eavesdropping.
Well, they were telling me what the project they might be pondering while I happened to be there to pull stuff off of the oceans. You don't say. Hmm. So you see what I mean? Our impact is what we're receiving back.
Yeah.
It's not just like pollution. That pollution came from parts of greed and taking advantage of people and things, including the earth. Like it's all a give and take. The earth is taking some of it back, so duck. Because she has literally said, "This is not mine," and throws it back at us from time to time. Hence the volcanoes that have erupted in the last couple months.
I've been thinking a lot of her lately, a lot of her lately, of just the growth in our area and just how much is growing, how much buildings are being built, and just
Mm-hmm.
houses everywhere. I mean, it's like there's no land left unturned. And it's like every time I see a new development and everything, my heart is getting more and more like it just gets so sad because we're losing out on earth. We're losing out on vegetation. We're losing out on bugs that help our vegetation, which helps us to breathe. And just Earth herself, the scars on her now I'm so pained
Well,
from all
don't
of
worry.
that.
She's not worried. I can tell you
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Okay? Like,
Okay.
if we want to give her our good, so trust that she knows what she's doing.
Okay. All righty. I will trust
You know what
you.
I mean? Because if we feel bad for her, what are we giving to her? Just saying.
Negative.
So
Negative.
we want to move that around and be like, girl, we got you back. You see, very different energy. A little bit, just a little twist in there, because she's good. And if we can't actually use the houses appropriately, they might leave. I'm saying.
All right. Whole new perspective. I gotcha. I gotcha. I've got
That's
it.
how we do it. That's how we change it. That's how we twist it. That's how we go with it because we don't want to go against it. Because you can't create new earth from old jumbo.
But we
So
can help
trust
her.
her. Yes,
We
that's
can
what I mean.
help her.
100%. But
But
trust
yeah,
her in her process. You know,
gotcha. I
she's like,
gotcha.
honey,
I get
honey,
it.
I'm good. I am Mother Earth. Good, honeys.
Yeah, I see it all happening. I get
Right?
it.
See?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes,
Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely. I mean, awesome. She
It is.
rocks.
Yes, she does. She doesn't feel bad. She'll let you know. Like, she wants you to ride with her. You know what I mean?
You got it. You got it. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
that makes
yeah.
her vibrate high, And that's where we want it to be.
Oh yeah.
And that makes us vibrate high. So there you go. Like, done and done.
all vibrating. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. Oh, I feel so much better. I feel enlightened,
Yeah.
just knowing that she's going to take care of who needs
Oh,
to be
yeah.
taken
Don't you
care of.
worry,
Oh, yeah.
Hugs.
Oh, yeah.
We can make vegetation. Okay. Like I can tell you all these things. The Colorado River changing is because we don't look at it as draining. We look at it as it filled, and we help that cohesiveness happen. And that's what we have to do. We can't come at new earth from old stuff. It doesn't work. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see the spirits of the natives come up to the Colorado River
Mm, nice.
and
Nice.
bless and bless. It was amazing.
Oh, oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. And I know now why I put the picture that's behind me now because we're
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's perfect.
it's gorgeous.
Mhm.
Yep, she's got it all under control.
So when you trust her implicitly, then you know what I mean? It's a give, and nobody's taken.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Yay!
Yes. I love this. I love this. I want to go give her a big hug.
Of course you can. And she
I
can feel it as soon as you do it. Like she feels it, you know?
go give her a big hug when we're done here.
Yeah.
I gotta go give her. And this is so awesome.
You know what I mean? Like she'll make you good soil. Ask her. So you know what I mean? Like have it be give and give and give and give and give.
Yes.
It's
Okay,
amazing.
I'm gonna start crying. It's so awesome. I love her.
Yeah. She loves
Love
us
her.
too.
Love her. Oh, all right. I gotcha. I gotcha.
Thank you. On
That's
behalf
awesome.
of her. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you. Yes, she's awesome. I love her. I love her. I love her.
She's the best.
Mhm. I love her. It's so awesome. So awesome. So you have a lot of different experiences. This is just one
This is just
beautiful,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is just one beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely. What other kinds of experiences have you had?
Well, I don't know that I would say to put human experiences to nature because I don't want to interrupt the flow of nature. Like, just understand that our energy, our mental mind, is what blocks, you know what I mean? That natural, all created love energy. And so that's why it's so important to be the give and give and give because there's never a taken to be had, you know? But when we do the next one, then we can talk about the humans because I've seen both the angels and the demons.
Well, we'll get both of them. We'll get it all. We'll have you
Yes.
on as many times as we need to have all these.
But does this make sense a little bit about how metagenetics then is? Because if you think about the vibration of you in the moment and your vibration goes out, that's the energy received by the moon. The moon reflects, upon the ocean water. So it's not just the weather itself, but if we give everything to the moon has nowhere to go, but it reflects it to the water. And so then the ocean brings it in and tries to transmute it for us. But when we collectively have a thing that happens, then that is where the addition to the storms create. Does that make sense? Because it's normally not loving per se, and it's no offense, like, you know, if we're sad, and we can all be very sad and painful at the same time. And that's what gets reflected into the ocean. And the ocean is just emotional energy.
So that's where like tidal waves and
Yes.
um not
Hurricanes, when they
hurricanes.
get big.
Yeah.
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 When they get big, we are the addition. So that's why it is
So
very important that we are become aware of our meta in our genetics. Because the meta is what comes out. The genetics is what's in.
wow. Wow. Girl, give you a high five. You're that's awesome. That is so cool. And it all just kind of goes back to just sit in love all the time. Just give love. That's just
Yes. But also love to
it's always
yourself,
yeah,
to the trauma, right? Like
right.
so when I do this work with clients, I tell people, like, give yourself 2 years. Like, honestly, because if you want to remove at least 2 generations, basically, of things that your body's storing, similar to like how the ocean stores things for you, your body stores water and water, right? And then it has traumatic events that store in the body because there isn't a voice, generally speaking, that knows how to portray them or why they're there. But vibrationally, they have their own existence because that's all they need to exist is energy. They don't need mass. So that's part of that meta, as well. So when we store it and something is in that vibrational sequence, then that adds a layer. And something else comes in that vibrational sequence, that adds a layer. And every time that layer expands, almost like the Fibonacci sequence, like on a snail, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it expands. Each layer makes it bigger and bigger. So you have to very gently kind of roll it back, because if you just go straight in and drill that hole out, it will rebuild automatically because now you traumatize the trauma. So you have to walk it back, and you do this. Well, I do this in this part because I work for you, your higher self, and I work for the man upstairs and all the above, right? So I walk you back, right? Gently. And your body will tell me what it's ready to let go of beyond your mind. Because if your ego knew everything, it would stop it in its tracks. And it's still going to try to stop it in its tracks because it created an entire protective barrier, Fibonacci sequence, right? So
Right.
it's like, no, you can't come to this. No, we've been protecting this for like 60 years. Who are you, woman? Well,
Let me tell you who
let
I
me tell
am.
you.
And
Right.
you just step aside. I'm
Yes.
coming through.
Yes. Because, like I said, I've seen the angels and the demons. So you're just ego.
There you go.
And so that's what I mean. Like, it's very gentle. So I call them kind of like canisters. This is the Center for Quantum Change. I trade named that 3 years ago when it came to me, coming out of like chemo and everything. And I said, I don't know what this means, but this is massively significant. And I banked it. And then I would tell somebody, I would pick different people that I would tell something to and to like tell them to bank this because I didn't know if I'd remember, honestly, you know?
Right. Right.
And so that guy knows. And so when I wrote to him and I was like, I got it. The Center for Quantum Change is in us. He goes, oh shit. It is. Because your whole quantum field exists beyond you always. The meta. It's like big. So I do it in 3-month sessions. That's just what I call them. And like I said, it's gentle. It's a little beyond therapy for sure, because we walk things back. So you need to let loose little bits at a time. So by the time you get to that very traumatic event, you actually don't feel traumatized because we've walked through the layers. So by the time you're like, oh my gosh, I should be completely scared, you're not. And you actually feel so in love with yourself and where you've come from that it's easy to let go. And that is so beautiful. And by doing that, you're asking nothing of no one, nor are you judging anyone. And that is a beautiful turn of events. And so you have taken that traumatic energy, which, by the way, has affected the earth, everything, all of it, and you've walked it back. And by doing so, that vibrational line has now dissipated from existence. There is no forgiveness needed if the action no longer exists. It just left. That's magic.
That is. And I'm relating that to what I've been going through at work in the process that I've been working on with my inner child
Mm-hmm.
with work. It sounds like it's the same type of thing as the inner child, but it's by working on the inner child, it's really going out into the big cosmos.
It
It's not
is.
just your inner child, it's the cosmos we're working with.
Mm-hmm. But what formed the inner child came before you. So the original you, inner child, did not begin with you as the inner child. It came before you. You're a vibrational source of source that way. Isn't that amazing? So by the time it gets to you as the inner child, it has vibrational resonance, which is why you can locate it.
Yeah, exactly.
As we do this intentionally and on purpose, not only is all forgiven, everything that's been stolen from you, forgiven. Taken from you, forgiven. And then you're just clear for abundance and joy and love. People's money just begins to increase without asking for it or feeling needed for it. Their lives change. The people around them really do love them because they love themselves. Because everything that came to them from that vibration of not feeling accepted, even within yourself, that attachment is in all the people around you. So when you release that from you, they release reflecting that to you. And they love you more. Is this beautiful?
Yes, it's beautiful. That's mm.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime, because we've got a lot more to talk about. We'll talk in March.
Okay.
We'll talk in March, and we got a lot to talk about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and you're come back anytime you want because we got
Okay.
more to talk about. We can even continue this if you want because
Yes, huh? We got a whole awakenings.
a lot. Oh my goodness, this has been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for enlightening us on metaphysics. Wait, is that what you're calling it? Metaphysics.
MetaGenetics.
Metagenetics. That's what
MetaGenetics.
metagenetics. So, yes, this has been awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Miss Dana. Mwah.
All right, we'll see ya. Take care, everyone. All right. Bye.